Hey everybody, how you doing? Woo! Welcome to PHLY Flyers postgame presented by Bet365. My name is Bill Matz. I'm your director of fun and games for the evening. Woo! We are live in the Xfinity studio, and tonight I am joined by Broad Street Hockey's own Kelly Hinkle. Charlie O'Connor will be by on the Xfinity mobile call-in line. Your guess is as good as mine.
Someday.
It's funny because, like, you used to know with Tortorella, a loss, he's going to be mad, 12 seconds.
Yeah.
A win, oh, it might go a little longer. He's going to be in the mood to talk. Tocchet seems to maybe be the opposite, where he's like, I'll break down some things and explain some stuff. And after a win, he's like, I want to get back. I'm going to get back and have some fun with the assistants. Who knows? We will see in a second. Lots to get to tonight. Charlie's 3 stars, the game changer, the unsung hero. But right now, I got to tell you about hats. That's right.
I love hats.
We have new hats. I have been dying for some new hats for a while. If you haven't noticed, I'm a big fan of hats. And right now on the PHLY store, you can get any number of new designs. I already got that orange and black PHLY Flyers edition. It is en route as we speak. You got to check these out. They're awesome. Go to allphly.com, click that merch tab, check out our new releases, including these great new hats. They're freaking cool. There's limited quantities. You're going to want to get one now. They're not going to last. I had to get one for Frankie, too.
Perfect for Christmas.
I was like, dude, they're going to run out. He was like, I want one. So I had to get 2.
Nice.
He hasn't Venmo'd me yet, so I'm going to say it's his Christmas gift.
I was going to say, don't do it, Frankie.
He won't. But it was a really, really good game in South Philly tonight. I am happy to be back. Following a win. Maybe I am the good luck charm Hinkle, as is allowing the first goal. The Flyers do it again.
Their favorite spot to be in.
I don't know if Buffalo played tonight or if they allowed the first goal. If they did not allow the first goal, the Flyers are tied for the league lead 19 times, allowing it. But they're awesome when they do, and they win this one again. Also great after a loss. They did it again. Lots of stuff to start with, but because I'm sure he's going to come up when Charlie joins, let's just get right to Dan Vladar. Not the busiest night. Stopped 17 of 18. Huge game, though, in terms of quality of saves. Gets his save percentage for the season up to .908. With this, came in at .906. And just, a .944 for the game allows one goal, I guess, a guy wide open on the far side, the side that Rick Tocchet has said, listen, don't worry about the back door. Just take care of the shooter and we will cancel everything out. Well, no, basically unchecked was Colin Graff, and that is the only blemish on Vladar's record. The Sharks don't get a lot of shots, and they didn't tonight, but they got some real quality chances on the shots that they did put up, and Vladar was stupendous once again.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like you said, he wasn't super busy. But the chances that they did get were quality, but also I feel like the timeliness of some of those saves, like in the second period in particular, he made a couple of saves, big saves, and then the Flyers went and scored, and I think that was when they made it 2-1.
Yes.
Might have been. Anyway, but yeah, like those are the kinds of saves where it's like, if one of those goals goes in, it's a whole different game. Yeah, momentum swings. The Flyers probably don't go down and score that goal. Like it wasn't so much that he was making a ton of saves or that the saves were like super duper flashy. Like there wasn't like a whole lot of flash in the gloves or flopping around or whatever. But the timeliness of the saves tonight, I thought, was a big deal for Vladar.
100%. And you mentioned that goal. It's TK's 500th point because he cleared the puck after that. And we'll talk about TK in a minute. But man, I have just maybe like, okay, he's up to .908 for the season, but like we said, that one Penguins game, he allows 5.
Yeah, really,
knocked his save percentage down 6 points in one game. He has been really, really good for them. And again, maybe it's because our bar is low, but it feels so nice to have a goalie that you just assume the save is going to be made.
Also, I really do think that you can tell a little bit of a difference in the way the team plays in front of Vladar versus Ersson. I think that they just, I mean, obviously, like, we know Konecny does it all the time. They're always going to gas up both of these guys. They're supposed to. Yeah. They're teammates, whatever. And also, Ersson has not been terrible this season. But I do kind of feel like they just seem like a little looser in front of Vladar.
We talked about this a few shows ago. We just keep referring to it as the Andrew McDonald style of defense.
Yeah.
The back in, like you're playing men's league. Just keep the guy in front of you and hope the shot hits you.
Right.
They've when they're not confident, they seem to do that a lot. There's not a ton of, we're going to deny the entry and see if we can push the puck up ice. It's, we're keeping them to the outside even when they're trying to get through the neutral zone, not even when they're set up. And I do think they can be a little more aggressive when Vladar is in there. We saw in the third period, they kind of went into that shell. And
they did.
It did work a little bit because they had 4 shots through like 17 minutes of the third period, did the Sharks. But you'd like to see them be a little more aggressive in the third. But overall, I do think one kind of fuels the other. You saw the Flyers, especially in the first 40 minutes, really pushing the pace on offense most of the time.
Yeah.
Shots through 40 were like 24-14 or something. It was really, really impressive. And I do think it starts with the confidence they have in the net.
Yeah, it was a pretty much a start to finish dominant game by the Flyers. I mean, even though they gave up the first goal, like prior to that goal, they were absolutely hammering the Sharks. Like it was all Flyers to start this game. And they had that one goal on the first shot of the game for the Sharks.
Of course.
Of course.
It took them 12 minutes to get their first shot, but it goes in.
Of course. But like, I mean, after that, it was pretty much all Flyers. Like they really played a solid game tonight, start to finish.
They did. And we're going to talk about TK, and we're going to talk about that first goal that they score after a huge Vladar save. But right now, I want to get to tonight's game changer, driven by Elkin Chevrolet. Together, let's drive. And I am going to give the game changer to the fourth line, specifically Carl Grundström. Grundle man did something no Flyers fourth liner has done this season. He scored a goal, and he did it with the other 2 members of the fourth line on the ice. We've mentioned it. The broadcast said it tonight. All of Grabenkin's points have come when he's not on the fourth line. Rodrigo Abel's only goal came with, I think, maybe Brinket Forster on the ice. But this is the first time all season the fourth line can say they were +1. The assists go to Sanheim and Seeler. We're going to talk about them later. But it was the fourth line who played pretty freaking well tonight.
I mean, it's kind of wild what happens when you put players on there that aren't absolute plugs. And like, I know Delorier is a great vibes guy. I know he's great in the locker room. I know the team loves him. I know that he has one particular skill that can be valuable sometimes. And Grundström obviously is not some kind of game breaker, but he's a guy that can do stuff. And it seems like, if you dress a line that can do stuff, occasionally they will do exactly that. And that's what we saw tonight. Like, Grundström is not a crazy talented guy, but he's a good, solid hockey player. And that line was pretty effective tonight, even outside of that goal. Like, they just looked better than they've looked pretty much all season.
And at 5-on-5, have to give Tocchet credit for recognizing it. Only the Dvorak, zegras, Konecny line played more at 5-on-5. Abels, Grundström, and Hathaway played 9-24 tonight. Now, maybe not like the best strategy, but I like that he recognized it and saw it. And they win the Corsi battle, 6-5 shot attempts, so it's not like they killed them in that regard. But when you look at the expected goals percentage, over 82% for the fourth line.
Good.
They got on offense, and when they got on offense, they pushed a little bit. I'm not saying they dominated tonight, but the game...
they were an effective line.
They get the go-ahead goal. They were effective.
Yeah.
They weren't terrible. We even saw, I think, Hathaway play with a little bit more jump. He had some chances tonight. And perhaps... This is a turning point. It's game 28. We're better late than never. But you see Ryan Reeves on the other side, and you kind of think, well, this is a D'Lo game. They have their heavyweight. We have ours. So let's see. No, D'Lo not in the lineup. It's Grundström, and Grundström rewards Tocchet with a goal.
Yeah. The thing is, though, I do kind of worry about Tocchet's what appears to be a bit of an obsession with the fourth line and the idea that he's got to get them out all the time, and that doing so is somehow building culture. Listen, the fourth line was good tonight. San Jose, someone mentioned in the chat there, San Jose doesn't have a ton of depth.
No, they have a lot of skill up top.
Yeah, that's it. So are they going to be this good against another team? Probably not. So like, do I want to see them getting the second most minutes? I don't want that to be what he goes to. Like the idea that like he might see this line as like, oh, well, team's starting to play bad. Let's put the fourth line out a whole bunch, or just got scored on. Let's put the fourth line out. Like that kind of stuff drives me crazy. And I do kind of worry, especially after his comments the other day, that Tocchet might be a guy that like really wants to get those guys out there as much as possible. And that, I don't know.
They've been limited in ice time a lot this season, and for good reason. Like, again, this is their first goal that the fourth line has scored with all three members of it on the ice. And they did it with, you know, the de facto top pair out there with them. But I will say, like, those comments, I thought it was kind of a mixed bag. Like, on one hand, like, all right, here we go with the culture stuff again. But also it is a lot of like, what do you want me to do? Like, I have to play them sometimes. Now, with 5 minutes left in a 1-goal game against the best team in the league.
Yeah, maybe not then.
Maybe not then.
Yeah.
That was questionable.
Maybe not offensive zone draws all
and
the time.
idea that, like, part of the reasoning was, oh, well, you know, I got guys tired on the bench. It's like, well, the other team played last night and you've had days off. Why?
Right.
You telling me, like, all right, maybe not the line that played the last shift, but the line that played 3 shifts ago couldn't get out? Like,
right, exactly.
Okay, tonight it did work
tonight,
and they were effective. And for that, Carl Grundström and the fourth line are tonight's game changer, driven by Elkins Chevrolet. Together, let's drive. All right. On the other side, we're going to talk TK. We're going to talk about his 500th career point. But first, got to get to hear from our sponsors.
Hey.
Sunday was my off day, and I was excited to sit down and watch a bunch of sports. I love my setup, so when I get a call from my buddy, I'm a little bummed that, yeah, okay, I'm going to go watch some hockey. I'm going to go watch some football at your house. But I was excited as soon as I got there because my friend, he's got Xfinity. So we were able to watch all of the best games and all of our favorite teams all in one place. That's right. With Xfinity, you have the ultimate sports destination. There's no lagging or buffering, no switching between 20 different apps. It's all right there with Xfinity, and the picture and sound is crystal clear with the enhanced 4K. If you call yourself a sports fan of any kind, you got to have Xfinity, and it's the perfect fan flex. Why? Because with so many games going, you might want to watch more than one. You can. With the multi-view, you can watch up to 4 games at once, plus keep up with all of your parlays and fantasy teams with the live stats and notifications you get right on your TV box. So next game day, make sure you're a big fan and not a big fail. Learn more at Xfinity.com. Xfinity, imagine that. Restrictions apply. Multi-view requires Xfinity 4K capable TV box. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. I tell you all the time about the 90 million users worldwide, and I love that early payout offer. If you bet a team on Bet365, either on the money line or as part of your parlay, and they open up a 3-goal lead, you're a winner. It's that simple. No need to sweat the rest of the game. And we have breaking news from our friends at Bet365. New customers now get $150 in bonus bets when you bet just $5, win or lose. All you got to do is sign up, use code PHLY365, deposit $10, place a bet for $5, get $150 in bonus bets when you bet just $5, win or lose. Bonus bets can be used on the spread, totals, player props, futures, and more. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary. Bet365 must be 21 plus an NPA. If you're someone who has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Line did come up big tonight, but we got to talk about TK because he gets that high flip into the neutral zone that bounces off Trevor Zegras's back. Christian Dvorak muscles his way through and gets to the puck and chooses not to drop the pass, but actually take in the breakaway forehand backhand goal. And it really all starts with TK clearing up that loose puck, and then he nets the empty netter to win it. He tried to pass that one as well, but it gets rejected as he's looking for Zegras. Comes back to him. He decides to shoot it into the empty net himself. TK +1 on the night. A couple of points, a couple of shots. He's now got goals in 3 straight. 5-game point streak with 3 goals, 5 assists, and 8 goals, 25 points in 28 games. That's basically what we're looking for.
He's been really good lately. You know what's interesting is I still see people on social media kind of like really getting on TK for every little mistake that he makes. Sunday, his first period was real bad. bad, real bad. But he came back strong in the second and the third. And tonight I thought he looked pretty good overall. But like, I still see people like, ticky-tacky stuff like, oh, nice drop pass that didn't go anywhere. Or like, oh, way to like pass it to nobody. And it's like, he's scoring now. Like, everyone can settle down. I know that he had a pretty bad start to the season, but he's picking it up. And what we need from him is points, and he's giving us points right now.
Yeah, that's his job, is to put points on the board. Now that he's actually putting the puck in the net and the assists don't seem to be going anywhere either, it does feel like, one, there's just leftover criticism, bad start to the season. There's a lot of people who, were anti-TK extension to begin with. So they're going to go, oh, yeah, this is aging well already. Like, we're going to hear that.
Right.
And there's the perceived double standard for everyone's favorite player, Matvei Michkov. He makes a mistake. He plays 12 minutes. TK, not the case. He tends to play close to 20 minutes every single night. That's going to happen with pretty much every coach when there's, the veteran and this sort of dynamic. But yeah, the Michkov stuff can be frustrating. But looking at TK right now, this is what we need from him. He needs to put the puck in the net. He needs to be out there in those big situations, like with the net empty, so he can pick up those goals. Really, when I look at the goal scoring at this point, this team doesn't score shorthanded anymore, and that's the difference. Like, when you see a guy who's had, 14 shorthanded goals over the last couple of years, something like that, and now there's none, that's going to cut into the goal total. But overall, I would say TK's pretty close to what we need from him.
I do kind of wish they would get a little bit more aggressive on the penalty kill. And I know that the penalty kill is pretty good, so it's like hard to complain about it. But those little like Mike Richards style pokes and they're fun. You know what I mean? Like, the power kill is fun. I would like to see them be a little bit more aggressive. But yeah, like I said, it's hard to complain about a penalty.
The PK started out so well.
Yeah.
Since November 15th, they are second to last in the league, and they'd given up a power play goal, I think, in 5 straight coming into tonight. San Jose, ton of talent, not a great power play overall, 19%, but they're over 25 on the road, and they stopped them on both of their power plays, so that was good. But yeah, I just think at this point, the TK criticism is leftover or people looking for it.
Yeah, I think it's kind of a little of both. I think it's leftover, and I think that the slow start has kind of left people, especially the ones who are, as you said, like a little bit down on that contract to begin with. They haven't yet allowed themselves to accept that he's playing well. So they're just looking for every little mistake and nitpicking, which is, what, honestly, he's one of the best players on the team. So he's probably going to get nitpicked forever, but he's not going to have perfect games.
And listen, like, the power of a fast start really affects everyone's like thought on a player.
Yeah.
I think I've just started to see some Bobby Brink criticism because Bobby Brink started the season with 10 points in the first 13 games. He looked like, okay, if we're trading a winger, it ain't going to be him, And he has 3 points. 2 of them came against Buffalo last week in his last, game 14 to 27. So since November 6th, he's got 3 points. And I feel like I'm just starting to see the people being like, yeah, we could use a little more out of Bobby Brink if he's like one of these guys who's going to be, definitely a part of this thing. And maybe he is just a third liner, and the offense you get from him is in spurts, and it's not, a point a game player or anything. But I just think that's a perfect example of fast start. Yeah, man, you're good until like December, and then people will start going, hey, what happened in November?
That's true, yeah.
And TK, it has taken him to this point to get his numbers to where they should be, which is close to a point a game. I think maybe it'll start to ease up, but also there's people who just don't want him and don't like the direction, so it's that'll always continue. Can't please everybody, Kelly.
No, you can't, Bill.
All right, let's
certainly
get to
not me.
No, I mean, listen, it's it was fair to criticize TK for his start to the season. Like, okay, he's picking up some assists, the numbers aren't terrible, but he got that contract based on being a guy who's going to score close to 30 goals a year, not close to 20, and that kind of went away for a little while. I'm hoping this continues. I'm hoping it's not just a hot streak.
Yeah.
Because they badly need TK, and they need this version of TK to last into his 30s.
Oh, yeah.
If this whole thing is going to work.
God, there's so many things that have to go perfectly well for this to work. It's starting to frighten me. Yeah, I'm not worried about Travis Konecny. He went cold at the end of last season. He started this season cold. Maybe he finishes this season super hot.
You know what? That was my optimistic look. Is the last couple of years he slowed a little at the end of seasons, and last year I think he had 4 goals in the final 41 games. Perhaps this means a huge second half for TK, and I can't believe it, but we're getting closer and closer to the second half of the season,
which is wild.
It is. I look at the Sharks. This was their 31st game tonight. All right, Flyers is their 28th. They're a little bit behind that pace, but in a few weeks, we will be at that halfway mark, and you can only hope that this continues for TK. All right, I want to get to tonight's Unsung Hero presented by Togo. Togo, the leader in operations outsourcing. Let Togo handle the work that gets in the way of your work. You call the plays, we execute. Togo. Listen, every champion needs an unsung hero. Tonight, going to go with a couple of guys who did pick up assists, but I think it is their defensive work that really, really stands out to me, and it is the pair of Travis Sanheim and Nick Seeler.
They were good tonight.
In all situations, Sanheim and Seeler played. Sanheim 12-10 against Macklin Celebrini. Nick Seeler 11-51. So they got a bulk of the work, especially for the defenseman against Macklin Celebrini. The Corsi, they almost broke even. It's 10-11. Expected goals was 45%. So they got outchanced a little bit, but they keep Celebrini off the board. And when Celebrini doesn't record a point, the Sharks don't win. That was their job tonight, and it happened.
Yeah, I mean, I was a little worried about the idea of playing Nick Seeler as much as they were going to have to play him if he's going to be on a pair with Travis Sanheim. And so far, I know we're only a few games in, but so far, not looking too bad. And they were very good tonight.
I am a fan of Nick Seeler on a third pair when it's yeah, man, you're going to play almost 12 minutes against the guy who's second in the league in points, first in the league in assists. Okay, let's see how that goes. It's a choice. It's not as if the Flyers are, overflowing with defensemen. They had to call up Ty Murchison tonight, but I think they did a really good job. It was Sanheim who I think was a little late getting over on the one goal the Flyers allowed. Guy was completely unchecked. He seemed to get his stick in there at the last minute, but it was too late. But outside of that, really, really strong work for that pair. They come back. They get a goal of their own, getting the assists on the Grundström goal, and hard to be upset when you keep one of the best players in the league off the board.
I was going to say, that was their assignment. Shut down Macklin Celebrini, and they did it perfectly. So it's what else can you ask of them? Points on the board, shutting down the other team's best player, not doing dumb stuff, which I feel like sometimes Nick Seeler can get a little spicy.
Celebrini played 19:45, 2 shots on goal, no points. He was a +1 on the graph from I think Klingberg goal, but they're really good. They're really talented. That is a team that, even though they don't get a ton of shots, has the ability to just score at will because of the talent they have at the top of their lineup.
Right, exactly.
And you held them basically in check. So that makes them tonight's unsung hero presented by Togo. I will say, though, we got the report, Cam York day-to-day. I believe he was on the ice. Charlie reported at the optional skate. Would really like to get him back.
That would be nice. I mean, the defense is, it's a bit cobbled together right now. And the third pair is obviously a work in progress. Charlie tweeted that they seem to be packing up Ty Murchison's bags. So I guess that was a one game for him. Which is kind of a bummer because he wasn't bad.
No, he certainly wasn't bad.
It wasn't an Igor Zamula situation where several times I was like, ooh, what's he doing?
Listen, maybe this means Cam York is back, and if so, great.
That would be nice.
Maybe they want to get Zamula back into a game, don't want to sit him for a 5th round rookie too long.
Can't
but
do that.
I was impressed by what I saw. Ty Murchison did play. Well, I want to see his time on ice because he had 10 minutes going into the third period, and that third pair doesn't often get a ton. He ends with 14:56, so they did trust him with a decent amount of ice time tonight. Gets 18 shifts, 3 hits and a block. Had on his first shift a shot attempt that got blocked, took a hit from Ryan Reeves, came right back at him. I was pretty impressed with Ty Murchison. Again, low bar. The third pair has been, as we said in pregame, when Tocchet, the best thing he can come up with is they're trying. Well, that means this is an opportunity for other guys to get a look. And first look at Ty, loved it.
Yeah, I wouldn't hate to see him get a call again.
No, and they do have the dynamic of like, well, if it's going to be Juleson and him, you kind of have two guys that are physical presences, maybe not the best puck handlers. But I see a little bit of upside, at least in one game with Ty Murchison. Maybe we'll talk to Matty Campbell at some point in the next couple of weeks, kind of get an overall view on what the Phantoms are doing and what other defensive prospects might get a look. But for a dude who's drafted in the 5th round, making his debut, didn't think he was overmatched by any means, especially considering what we've seen out of that third pair.
No, I think Matty's going to be doing a deep dive on his game tomorrow for BroadStreetHockey.com. But I kind of wonder, so I know they don't want to break up the Andre Drysdale pair, like for good reason. It's been very, very good. But I do kind of wonder, like, if you do mix it up a little bit, maybe you get something out of that third pair that's, a little bit more than just like hanging on for the 30 seconds that they're out there.
It's very much like that fourth line conversation we were having pregame. When you're getting nothing, when they're just giving you nothing, they are not just breaking even. Like, all right, they haven't scored, but no, they're bad. They're a minus for the team. You got to try other stuff. And while, again, it's not like there's a bunch of A-tier prospects in the AHL, you look at the Phantoms, the success they're having. Briere has been stockpiling assets down there. There are guys with pro experience. There are guys who might have some upside. You got to give them a look. I like what they're doing with Grundström and Murchison. I want to see that continue.
Me too. And I really hope it will. If we're going to have these holes because of these unfortunate injuries for any length of time, this is what I want to see them doing. Like, I want to see them giving the guys that are playing well in Allentown a chance and just kind of see what we got, because maybe we got something.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. I think we're going to be hearing from Charlie pretty soon. So you know what we're going to do? We're going to throw it to our next break. Fam, do we really want Matvei Michkov playing goalie? No. It's insane. It's not worth the risk, the time, or the money, because you want to keep your stars focused on doing what they do best. And the same goes for your business. You don't want your top people buried in operations, the tedious, time-consuming, redundant activities that wear the team down. Togo can help any business looking to reduce operations costs, become more efficient, or even unlock more time for your best people. From customer service and accounting to order management, logistics, admin, and data entry, and even the complex multi-step operational processes, Togo takes all of it off your plate at a fraction of the cost. And every engagement with Togo starts with free process mapping and engineering, so there's no cost and no commitment. They don't bill a dime until the real work begins. And with programs starting as low as $1,000 a month, you're not going to break the bank. And each Togo program includes dedicated staff, custom automations, and US-based process engineers who act as your quarterback, giving you complete control, total transparency, and instant efficiency. At Togo, you call the plays, we execute. Visit harnesstogo.com. Scale smarter, work faster, and stay focused on winning. Now it's time to tell you about TrueMark. Parents, listen up. The holidays, they're coming up fast, and it's the perfect time to teach your kids a little something about money, and Greenlight makes that easy, because Greenlight's the all-in-one money app and debit card made just for families. Helps kids learn to spend wisely, save for what really matters, and build smart money habits, all while you call the plays. Here's the best part. TrueMark Financial Credit Union members get a free custom card with their free Greenlight subscription. That's a $79.99 value, and if you're not a member yet, there's no problem. You can open an account online or at any of TrueMark Financial's 24 branch locations and score this exclusive offer. With Greenlight, you'll get real-time spending alerts, easy controls, and an instant on-off switch for your kids' cards. Plus, kids can earn on their savings and manage chores and allowances right in the app. So make this holiday season a win. Visit TrueMark.com/Greenlight for all the details and get started today. TrueMark Financial Credit Union is federally insured by the NCUA. Now, I always start that Togo read with, do you really want Matvei Michkov playing goalie? And the answer is no, but it might get him a little more ice time. 12:47 tonight.
Are we allowed to complain about that?
I
We still doing it?
When they win, it's hard for me to complain. And
I can always
he
do
did
it.
make some mistakes tonight, just in terms of that penalty
late
he
penalty
took.
was not good.
A little light on a few pucks, but really just kind of invisible was Matvei Michkov.
Yeah.
One shot on goal on the evening. Here's my optimistic view on Mish. It's not working for him right now, at least not for like any sustained period of time. He's had really good games. He's had games. He's had okay, but the team is pretty freaking good, and he's not driving bus the way he was last year. Mm-hmm. That's my optimistic view. When he comes around, this might be like a legitimately dangerous team, at least when you look at the rest of the Eastern Conference.
I just worry, like, what is it that's going to get him to come around? Like, because he's not really getting the ice time. Like, he's obviously not going to get prime line mates because he's not playing that well. Yeah, man, I know no one wants to hear it, but I do worry that, the way that they're handling this slump is not the best way to get him out of it.
Perhaps not, and we see other young guys.
But it's what they're doing.
Like Bedard and Celebrini, who seem to get a little bit more of a leash.
Yeah.
But it is really chicken and egg. Like, are they getting the leash because of the production? Mm-hmm. Or is it just, well, we're going to let them do their thing, and if it works, it works, and it's working very, very well right now. What I'll say is he just needs to play better. Like,
he does.
Like that. The two things are like, you can hold both thoughts.
That's
like,
I can do that.
I would like to see him play a lot better in the minutes he's getting, and want to see him out there more. But tonight, when I see a guy who's a total non-factor, like, I don't know, is that what Rick Tockett's going to do? Maybe we can ask Charlie about it, because I know he loves this topic. And now, joining us from the Xfinity Mobile Arena on the Xfinity Mobile call-in line is Philly's #1 hockey beat writer, Charlie O'Connor. Charlie, first of all, of course, thoughts on the game?
Yeah, to me, I just thought that this was, and look, we got to hear a lot of talk over the first month of the year about how, oh my God, San Jose, Chicago, they're actually good teams. The rebuilds are working quicker than usual. And then you looked at their underlying 5-on-5 numbers and you're like, nah, they both stink. Well, tonight was a reminder, San Jose stinks. They're bad. They are not even remotely close to exiting their rebuild. They have high-end young pieces. Macklin Celebrini is already very good and is probably going to get even better. They got guys like Dickinson. They got guys like Will Smith, Eklund. They have a lot of blue-chip young players, but this is not a good hockey team. The Flyers, while they have fewer blue-chip young players than the San Jose Sharks, are a significantly better actual hockey team. And tonight, the Flyers played like a significantly better actual hockey team. That's what it boils down to. I mean, the Flyers dominated this game. The fact that, yes, they win this game 4-1. They could have won this game 6-1. They control play. I haven't finished doing my full 5-on-5 entry tracking. I will have that done probably in about like an hour. I think I have about like 8 minutes left to go in the third. But the Flyers absolutely dominated from what I had tracked. I have the Flyers at a 51% controlled entry rate and 45 possession entries. So possession entries are either a controlled entry or a dump in that you recover. Whereas I have the San Jose Sharks at a 27.2% controlled entry rate and 32 possession entries. So 45 to 32. Pretty dramatic discrepancy in terms of amount of time spent on the attack at 5-on-5, and that includes over half of the third period when the Flyers were defending a lead. Usually, the team trailing gets more opportunities. They really didn't, because the Sharks aren't very good. And I'm not saying the Flyers are great, but they're a heck of a lot better than the Sharks. And to the Flyers' credit, they played like it. So well done, Flyers.
Yeah, I was impressed with the effort, especially through 40 minutes. The first 10, 12 minutes of the third, I thought maybe someone had greased their sticks at intermission and they were just deciding they don't know what to do with the puck. But overall, a really, really strong performance for the Flyers against, yes, an inferior team. They have high-end talent, but really no sort of depth whatsoever. Speaking of depth, Charlie, The fourth line. They've done
Hey-o.
it.
They did it.
They scored a goal. Maybe one of these guys is going to come up in stars later, so you don't have to go too crazy on that. But I just want to ask, when you look at the way the ice time's distributed, the Zegras line almost 13 minutes at 5-on-5, the other 3 basically all even. What'd you think of the fourth line tonight?
Yeah, they were good. They were good, and I think the key tonight was Carl Grundström. And look, I don't think anybody is acting like Carl Grundström is the savior of this team, is even the savior of the fourth line, but he's a quality NHL player. He is a solid enough NHL player. I always had an issue when people were calling him like, oh, he's an AHL veteran. It's like, okay, well, he is a veteran, and he was playing in the AHL, but before this season, he was a full-time NHLer, basically. He has a ton of NHL games, and he played like a quality enough NHL fourth liner tonight, and that was the big difference because, Rodrigo Abels has shown flashes, but overall, to me so far this season, he's looked like a NHL caliber player, but maybe like a 14th forward rather than a guy who plays every night. And Garner Hathaway's been one of the biggest disappointments on the team this season.
Big time.
Getting Grundström in this lineup allowed them to have an above average fourth liner in the lineup for one game. Now, maybe he won't play this well every single game. Maybe this was this is as good as it gets from Grundström, a goal and strong forechecking and good speed. Maybe this is his A game, and most nights he'll deliver a C or B minus game. But this game, Grundström was real good. And that was enough to, I think, elevate the play of guys like Abels and Hathaway to the point where the line delivered solid work. Now, I still have hopes that Garner Hathaway can get it back going at some point because I don't think, I have to believe that this is not Garner Hathaway's true talent level. I've seen him play better than this for long enough to think that he can get back there. I hope that he can get back there. But the guy we've seen through the first 27 games of the season has not even been close to that level. What Grundström gave them was what Hathaway gave them the last 2 years. And I think that was the difference tonight. Grundström provided the value that Hathaway had been providing this line for the last 2 seasons, and it was nice to see a fourth line having that boost again.
Absolutely, Charlie. I just wanted to ask about Ty Murchison. You said he, I think Kelly told me you tweeted, it looked like they were packing his stuff up as if this might be a one and done situation, but I was not disappointed in what we saw out of Murchison tonight. What did you think?
I liked what I saw in him. And look, maybe he won't be, but they were packing up his bag. I think he asked one of the trainers, like, do I leave my melon here, the helmet? And they're like, yeah, leave it. So I think he's probably getting sent back down. Cam York did skate today he skated for a morning skate. It was an optional, but he skated. He's never been placed on IR, so they can bring him back whenever they want. If he's going to play, it would make sense that Murchison would go back down. You probably keep Juleson in the lineup, and York just comes right in for Murchison. But look, Murchison got a one-game audition. This is a guy who, by Murchison's own admission to us yesterday, he was hoping he was going to get a call up, but he didn't think it was going to happen maybe until near the end of the year. This is him arriving ahead of schedule. This is a guy who didn't score that much in college. This is a guy who has largely been getting bottom half of the lineup minutes in the AHL. Now, according to Matt, he's done very well in those minutes. He's been impressive, but it's not like he's been getting top pair minutes. It's not they've been piling the ice time onto him at the AHL level. So for him to get this look, it's a little bit of a surprise. He's a little bit ahead of schedule. He didn't look like a guy who's ahead of schedule. He looked like a guy who belongs. And that's what Travis Konecny said. This is a guy who just looked like an NHL player. He's battling with Ryan Reeves in the corner. He's making good defensive stops. Rick Tocchet basically said, look, there were some times he backed in a little bit too much, but you expect that from a young guy, young defenseman making his NHL debut. He doesn't want to mess up. But overall, I thought Murchison was pretty good. And to be honest with you, look, I'm not saying they're going to do this, but he looked better in this game than Adam Yenning looked at most of his, and honestly, how much better than what Yegor Zamula's looked in a lot of his games this season too.
No, I would say all of them.
Yeah, absolutely. I just wanted to go back because I remembered my follow-up on the fourth line, Charlie. I know we've kind of maybe incorrectly sometimes tagged Tocchet as more of an old school kind of coach. He likes the grinders out there. And listen, he got a chance to play the fourth line and did it. But I see Ryan Reeves on the other side, and then our heavyweight not in the lineup. Was that a surprise to you?
You know, it's been weird with this Delorier stuff because the games where you think they'll play Delorier, like this one, because Ryan Reeves is in the lineup, the game against Pittsburgh, because you have like the bad blood, they dress their fighter. Those are the games he's not dressing Delorier. And then the games where you're like, oh, you can't put Delorier out there against Colorado, they'll blow the doors off him. Then he plays. So I'm done trying to explain the thought process behind when Delorier plays and when he doesn't, because to me, over the last 2 weeks, it seems like the games I think he should play, he doesn't, and the games I think he shouldn't play, he does. So I don't know, Bill. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, no, I just kind of wanted to see a D'Lo Reeves fight tonight, but I'll take the win. And honestly, we have said for how long, hey, when the other team plays their fighter, what if you don't play yours, and then he's got nothing to do?
He's a useless player.
You know, so maybe that's part of the strategy, and I appreciate that. Charlie, third period, like I said, really took the foot off the gas, especially in the first half of it. They didn't give up many shots. I think through like 14 minutes, they only had about 4 shots on goal, despite being in the Flyers' end the entire time. Is this part of learning to play with the lead a little bit?
Yeah, look, I didn't love the third period. It could have been better. They could have attacked more, but they really didn't give up a lot. I mean, I'm looking at the expected goals numbers for the game on Natural Stat Trick. In the third period, they allowed 0.45 expected goals to the Sharks. This is a team that's trailing the entire period. This is a team that should be throwing everything they have at the Flyers, and they couldn't even get a half of an expected goal in that period. Look, this was an easier matchup. The Sharks do not have the kind of firepower that really can make life difficult for a team trying to protect a lead. That's undeniable. But overall, I didn't think it was a terrible third period with the lead. They could have created a little bit more. They could have really, put the pedal to the metal, sure. But defensively, I thought they were pretty good. And look, this isn't a perfect team. This is not a team that is going to be winning 7-0 games. It's just not. I thought the third period was acceptable. It could have been better, but I thought it was acceptable.
Christian Dvorak, Charlie. This is something we'll probably get into a little bit on tomorrow's show, just because it's a broader topic. January 1st, he's going to be eligible to sign an extension after signing a 1-year deal as a UFA. Scores the goal tonight. I was very happy to see he didn't drop pass on a breakaway. Picks up an assist on TK's empty netter. Man, he is centering the Flyers' best line right now. I kind of wouldn't hate if they kept him. What'd you think of his game and the idea of maybe keeping him?
Yeah, he had a great game. I mean, spoiler alert, he's my number 1 star, and I don't think it was particularly close. I think he was great. Won a ton of faceoffs, scores a goal. I believe he gets an assist on the Konecny empty netter. I think. Yeah. Just an all-around great game for Christian Dvorak. Look, the thing that got lost in a lot of the offseason discourse post-signing, when everybody was focused on the cap hit, it's like, yeah, it's too big of a cap hit for Christian Dvorak based on what he's done this season in his career, but it doesn't mean he's not a solid player. Like, he's a quality NHL center. He's probably ideally a 3C. He's a middle 6 center who ideally is a 3C, but he's a solid enough player, and he did have his best offensive seasons in the NHL under Rick Tocchet. So you're thinking, hey, maybe there's more there. Well, thus far, there's been more there. He's formed a good partnership with Trevor Zegras, doing that the whole hybrid center wing thing that I know everyone hates. But they clearly have chemistry. The two of them clearly have chemistry. They're friends off the ice. They work well on the ice. So yeah, he's been really good. Now, if you're talking about re-signing him, I'm still opposed to it because I think you need spaces for the young guys. If you want Porter Martone on this team, something's got to give. Like, if you want Jet Luchenko to play NHL games next season, something's got to give. And I've loved what we've seen from Christian Dvorak. But the problem is like, you need spaces. So unless you're going to make a big trade or multiple big trades and move some forwards out to clear some spots for Martone and Alex Bump and Jet Luchenko and Denver Barkey, like, you can't bring back everybody. And they've signed a bunch of guys. So you can't have everybody when this, look, I'm happy with what the Flyers have done this year. I really am. I think they're performing above my expectations. They're in the playoff mix. They have a good record. But I don't think anybody looks at this team as currently constituted and is like, yup, this is a team where we got to bring everybody back because it's good enough. No, they need to be better. And the way you get better is you replace guys currently on the roster with players who are better. I love what we've gotten from Christian Dvorak. He has been a really good signing. Honestly, he might be playing well enough that he's worth that cap hit that we all thought was enormous. But I just think that unless you're going to take unless you're going to excise some big pieces from this forward core going into next season, you need to open up spaces for some of these prospects somehow. And Dvorak's just the most obvious guy to remove to have a spot for Luchenko or Martone or Bump.
All right, Charlie. Yeah, let's do it. Let's get to tonight's 3 stars of the game. I had one more, but we have unlimited time to talk over the next week. Hit us with tonight's 3rd star of the game.
Yeah, 3rd star of the game, I'm going to go with somebody who I thought had a really good game, a quietly good game, that I didn't see a lot of people talking about, but I'm going to go Jamie Drysdale. I thought Jamie Drysdale had a quietly very strong game. He had 21 minutes of 5-on-5 ice time, played a third of the game at 5-on-5, easily their most used defenseman at 5-on-5. I think he's doing a great job anchoring that pairing with Emil Andre. Like, he's the steady vet on that pair. He's doing really good, steady defensive work, great work in his own zone. He picks up a secondary assist on the Noah Cates goal, but I just thought overall really strong all-around game from Jamie Drysdale, who I continue to be impressed with, and I wanted to give him a shout-out, so he's getting 3rd star.
I like it. I like that. Charlie, who is tonight's 2nd star?
2nd star is Dan Vladar. Dan Vladar didn't face a ton of shots in this game, but I thought he came up with some really clutch saves. There were key saves at key moments, and it was, in a lot of ways, this is the kind of game where, like, Sam Ersson would give up 3 goals, and we'd be like, he played better than his numbers. Well, Vladar gives up 1 goal in a game like this where not a lot of shots, but the shots he faced were really high quality, and he found a way to make those saves. So I guess the finding here is that it can be done, that you can have games where you only face like 18, 19 shots, 11 of them are high quality, and you still finish with a good save percentage. I thought Vladar was low-key great in this game. I thought he made big saves at key moments. There were multiple times in this game where I thought the Sharks looked poised to seize the momentum back. I'm thinking specifically there was one play where I believe it was right after the Flyers score their first goal of the game, late in the first period, which was the Dvorak goal. Like right after that, Will Smith blasts down the ice with a breakaway, and Vladar makes a big save. I think the Flyers win this game regardless because they were the better team, but I don't know how this game plays out if after that first period, when the Flyers dominated, if they're still down 2-1 and they give up a goal to shift right after they tie it, after they put in all that work, I don't know how the rest of this game plays out because that's how the Sharks have been winning games this year. They're getting crushed by the shot on goal and the chance numbers. The way they're winning games is because they're being opportunistic, they're getting timely scoring, and Celebrini's playing incredible. That's why. Okay. And that was a chance for Will Smith, one of their young stars, to do one of those momentum flipping goals. And you know why he didn't? Because Dan Vladar stood on his head and made the save. Dan Vladar, 2nd star of the game.
All right. You've already revealed it, but, just to tie up all the loose ends, tonight's 1st star of the game.
Yeah, it's Christian Dvorak. I thought Dvorak was really good. I mean, look, I talk about the save that Vladar made after the Dvorak goal. That isn't a potential momentum changing save. If Dvorak doesn't break down the wall that was Nedeljkovic. Nedeljkovic had a really good first period. And you're thinking like, man, if they go into the first intermission and they're down 1-0 despite the Sharks score on their first shot, the Flyers outshot them like a crazy degree. They had all the scoring chances in that period except for like 1 or 2, and you're down. Dvorak comes through. He has a great play on the breakaway. It's like, hey, when you're not like randomly passing off breakaway opportunities, it seems like you're pretty good on them, Christian Dvorak. So maybe don't do that ever again. But no, I thought Dvorak had a great game. I don't have the face-off numbers right in front of me, but I gather he basically won like all of them. Which, look, if you're finishing at like, where you win in 12 out of 23, it's like whatever. But if you're winning all of the faceoffs, you know what? That's probably going to have an impact on the game. Finishes we have 82.4%.
82.4, yep.
Pretty
darn
darn
bad.
Pretty darn good. And that line has been the Flyers' best line for probably about a week, maybe longer. I'd have to go back and look at the numbers, but it's been really good. And Dvorak's stability is what allows guys like Zegras and Konecny to freelance offensively. Konechny even admitted it today after the game. He's like, yeah, like Dvorak allows me to kind of do crazy stuff because I know he's got my back. He's very open about the way he plays. He knows how he plays, and he knows that he needs somebody to kind of reel him in or at least cover for him when he's doing crazy stuff. And Christian Dvorak was doing a great job protecting Trevor Zegras. Did a great job tonight protecting Trevor Zegras and Travis Konechny, and he scored a goal and an assist. Clear cut for a star for me. Christian Dvorak. Great
All right,
game.
Charlie, before we let you go, great job on 3 stars. Is TK back?
It's a good question. I'm not ready to say he's back, but he's scoring. He's finding ways to contribute, even though he's still, in my mind, and I think even his mind, not quite playing his best hockey, but he's finding a way to contribute on the score sheet. I'm just hoping that as the calendar moves forward, that he gets a better handle on the system that Talk is trying to implement, and the all-around play improves. Because the production's been there. I'm liking that, but I'm still not all the way there with TK to say he's completely back.
All right, that is Charlie O'Connor on the Xfinity mobile call-in line. Charlie, I will see you at 4 o'clock tomorrow.
Bye, Charlie.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, guys. Bye, Kelly. Bye, Bill.
Charlie, all right. Fancy stats out here casually explaining score effects to the masses.
Yeah, it's nuts. I don't like score effects. I think it's oh well, you know, they're trailing, so they're gonna pile it on. No. You take it to them even more. Like Hartnell said, it should be points night. They're going to be pushing, which means cause some turnovers. Get some points going your way. All right, we still have, I completely forgot about our final commercial break. There's always another way to win on the BetParx online casino app. You can turn your downtime into some fun time, maybe even some winning time with brand new games like Huff and More Puff and Fireblaze Sky Queen, plus all your favorite casino classics, whether it's Cash Eruption or 88 Fortunes or Blackjack, Roulette, Craps, or Poker. You can play all your favorite classic casino games from wherever you are. And right now, new users get up to $1,000 casino bonus back if you're down in the first 24 hours. You can even play hot online slots based on your favorite streaming shows. They've got The Walking Dead, Squid Game, Breaking Bad, and Peaky Blinders, all your favorite classic casino games from wherever you are. It's the only app I use to play all my favorite casino games right in the palm of my hand. Go to betparx.com right now and download the app to enjoy all the action and excitement from the casino at your fingertips. You must be 21 and in PA, Jersey, Maryland, or Michigan for BetParx. You love to play. You play to win. You bet. BetParx. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Now it's time to tell you about our friends at Elkin Chevrolet, because Elkin Chevrolet is run by 3 brothers, and they're big Flyers fans as well. So this holiday season, they're making sure you get a deal that will feel just as good as a win. They've got a huge inventory of Chevy trucks and SUVs, and there's no better time to grab one at a price that won't last. Whether it's getting to the game or to work or hitting those holiday roads, you'll roll into the new year in the perfect ride at the perfect price. Elkin Chevrolet, real brothers, real deals, and a whole lot of honking good service. Elkin Chevrolet, Route 73 South in Marlton, New Jersey. Shop now at elkinchevrolet.com. Together, let's drive. All right. I just had to ask that about Dvorak for Charlie, because I know the logistics, but also it's not as if this team is overrun with centers.
No, but he's like prime, get a good pick at the deadline fodder at this point.
That's my issue, is I don't think they're going to do the Sean Walker thing, and they'd rather see if they can continue playing these games that are meaningful down the stretch. Maybe. But I wouldn't necessarily hate the idea of losing him for nothing. It's not as if, oh my God, well, the haul we could get for Christian Dvorak. End of the day, he's still, like Charlie said, a 3C. Yeah. Now, you know, Scott Lawton did fetch you a first-round pick.
I was going to say, Danny's kind of a wizard getting first-round picks.
I would not be opposed to that. I'm just looking at all the possible options and seeing a guy who has been pretty damn good for you this year, leads the team in ice time tonight with 19 minutes, couple of points. And he's like one of the only guys who can win a faceoff, so that's kind of nice. The Flyers had a really good night in the faceoff circle, actually. He's over 80%. Cates is over 70%. Couturier, oh my God, 60%. What's he doing out there? But like it's it's not like I'm, re-signed Dvorak, but it is, once January 1st gets here, a possibility. So I just am gathering people's thoughts on the idea.
All right. I mean, you're allowed to ask the question. I I do hope,
but I hate it.
Yeah, I do hope during his time here, like if you're besties with Trevor Zegras, are you maybe like showing him how to do face-offs?
Well, that is the other
Claude
end of
Giroux
it.
would show him how to do it.
That is the other end of things. At a certain point, we're going to need to see if Zegras can play some center and not, well, we tried it for a shift and he lost 2 face-offs and blew a D-zone coverage, so he's never getting another chance. We'll let him play down low in the defensive zone sometimes, when he's the first guy back and see how that goes. Like, you are going to need to do that. But to me, creating spots for, yes, Luchenko is one, but again, he could easily be the 4C. Like creating spots for Martone and Bump and even Barkey down the line. Those are wingers. We're going to need to trade wingers regardless.
Right.
Like other than Luchenko, like Nesbitt is years away. Dvorak might be retired by the time Nesbitt is here, Like, so that's not really a thing I'm all that concerned about. And after that, who are these centers? Like, oh, well, we need to clear a spot for Carson Dorwart. I don't know if that's true. If it's a short-term deal, I'm not saying give him 8 because that's insane. But 3, it might not be the worst idea.
Maybe not.
You can always trade a 3-year contract, especially if the cap hit is what it is or lower because you gave him some term.
Maybe. I mean, if he continues having this kind of season, he's having a very good season. Like, he might be like, I'm going to see what I can get.
Yeah, and he should, especially if it's we're just going to let you go for nothing and you're going to hit the open market.
Like, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, man, sure. I'm just not positive they're going to trade him. And in that case, it's like, well, we have 3 options: trade him, keep him, or let him walk for nothing.
Yeah.
And the let him walk for nothing thing, it's not the best asset management. I don't think it's the end of the world. It's just not the best idea.
Well, here's the thing. I feel like the best GMs know when to walk away from an asset, like the sunk cost fallacy that all of these guys get themselves sucked into. Like, just because you have a guy doesn't mean you have to keep him forever. Like, he can just go. Sometimes them going is the better asset management because, like Charlie said, now you're opening up a spot for other guys. I do worry that if they're in the playoff mix, they're not going to trade anybody, which I think is not the best idea. But that's for future us to talk about.
That's for March us to discuss. Yeah. After the Olympics, that's when we'll worry about that, I guess. But January 1st, guys who signed 1-year deals as UFAs, they are eligible for extensions. That means it's closer than you think. Holidays are coming. All right. With that, I think we only have 1 super chat, which is insane. So hit the freaking like button for us. Give us some likes. We deserve the likes. Big game tonight. The Flyers beat Celebrini. Come on. Let's pump up this total to 200. I know you can get us there. But let's hit this 1 super chat. Then I got a couple things to tell you, and then we will be done. From JH. JH coming through, as he always does. He gives us a woo! Kelly show and a win. We're spoiled. We certainly are. Are you with us tomorrow at 4 o'clock?
I cannot be.
You cannot be. Damn. Okay. Well, then I'm glad we got the Dvorak conversation in. I'm glad we got the Dvorak conversation in today.
Me too.
All right. Before we wrap up tonight, couple things I got to tell you about. First, let me tell you about those hats again.
Yeah.
The hats are for sale. They're new and they're really cool. I am actually excited about some of the designs. That white one with the PHLY flag, very nice. I already ordered the Flyers version there with the kind of a flying P sort of logo that is definitely not illegal. It is certainly different enough that we should be allowed to sell it.
That is
we do not cross copyright laws here.
It's a professional organization.
Yeah, I wish we would challenge them a little bit more because every time I'm on the internet, I'm like, there's another shirt with Gritty on it that the Flyers aren't even selling. Why can't we do that? But we're walking the line, and I think these designs are really cool. Go to allphly.com to check them out. And before we wrap up tonight, got to remind you, told you about this in pregame. We got a GoFundMe going. You are going to want to contribute to this. It is an excellent cause in a tragic situation. Kelly's niece diagnosed with leukemia, which I honestly can't think of something worse. Scan that right there. You can also go through the tweet, Broad Street Hockey on Twitter, to find the link to be able to donate. We've seen donations all throughout the Flyers community, so make sure you are part of the solution here. Even our old pal Scott Lawton, who we just mentioned, contributed. So make sure you get in on that and help out a family member, Flyers fan, and one of my great friends here, Kelly Hinkle. All right. That is all the time we have for you on PHLY Flyers. Thank you all for listening. Thanks for hanging out. If you haven't already, follow us right here on the YouTube page. We'll be back at 4 p.m. tomorrow with our regularly scheduled show. Make sure you are following us on Twitter at PHLY_Flyers and follow the podcast. Just search PHLY Flyers and maybe go to BroadStreetHockey.com as well. You're going to make me cry now.
No, knock it off.
All right, that is it. I am Bill Matz. That is Kelly Hinkle. Thank you, as always, to Brenna. Be excellent to each other.
We all silly like the mayor.